Election day is here, and across the country, many who have not voted yet are lining up at the polls to decide between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Here in San Diego, how the county is handling a record early voter turnout and making things safe for people heading to the polls today.
And a final look at what's become a close mayoral race, along with other big local contests. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to ABC 10 News at 11, where we have you covered on this election day. We have teams fanned out. Mary McKenzie at the County Registrar of Voters Office, where they have already seen record early voter turnout. Marie Cornell at City Hall, covering one of the biggest local contests, the San Diego mayoral race. And once again, I'm joined in studio by my co-anchor Jim Patton. It is all hands on deck for this big day. And we want to get started now with this. So we start with the race at the top of the ballot, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. All across the country, we have seen long lines forming at polling places, people following a different protocol this year during the pandemic, but getting out to cast their votes nonetheless. That is as both presidential campaigns wait to see how election night will play out. ABC's Faith Abube has the latest.
Former Vice President Joe Biden coming into Election Day ahead in most polls.
Can you hear me?
Starting his day stumping with members of the local carpenters union in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. But even this morning, his campaign taking no chances.
It's time for Donald Trump to pack his bags and go home. We're done.
Yesterday, his campaign barnstorming the battlegrounds of Pennsylvania and Ohio.
We can put an end to a president that has failed to protect this nation.
After a long and bitter campaign season, Biden finishing with a message of hope, but still attacking the president for his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're going to beat this virus. We're going to get it under control. And the first step to beating this virus is beating Donald Trump.
In a new internal memo obtained by the Washington Post, White House Task Force Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx saying we're entering the most concerning and the most deadly phase of this pandemic. But at a closing rally in Michigan, President Trump with a vastly different message.
That ends the pandemic. And it will end anyway. They hate it when I say we're rounding the corner. It's going to end anyway, but the vaccine will make it go a lot quicker.
Trump calling into Fox News this morning, projecting confidence that he'll win.
I don't know what the chances are. I don't know how they rate the chances, but I think we have a very solid chance of winning. And I think a lot of that has to do with the tremendous crowd size.
While also grappling with the thought of losing.
The concept of losing to this guy. Oh, you better get out there and vote tomorrow. I will be so angry. I'll never come back.
New numbers from the U.S. Elections Project show out of over 100 million early votes cast, 47.9% were Democrats and 41.8% were Republicans. Trump's campaign banking on a huge election day turnout to win. Voters, meanwhile, ready for the final count.
I'll be happy when it's over with. I'm really tired of all the BS.
And one thing about record turnout is that it's good for democracy, but someone has to count those votes. Election experts telling ABC News they expect it to take longer than usual for the final results to come in. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
And on that note, every state has different rules when it comes to counting ballots, and the final tally of mail-in ballots, which could trickle in over the next several days, could be the deciding factor. Many key battleground states allow mail-in ballots to arrive after Election Day. In Pennsylvania, for example, where President Trump and Joe Biden have been fighting for votes, ballots can arrive all the way until November 6th, and that's when the state plans to finish counting. In North Carolina and Ohio, mail-in ballots have until Thursday and Friday next week, respectively, to arrive. However, both those states will release a vote count without those ballots tonight.
Here in San Diego County, we have seen a record number of ballots already cast, and this evening, right after the polls close, the early returns could represent an unprecedented 60 to 70% of the vote. But there are many who have waited to vote in person on this election day. Let's get to ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie live at the Registrar of Voters, where the process, Mary, appears to be going smoothly thus far.
Jim, it really has. There's been just a steady trickle is how I describe it. The only line that we've really seen so far was before the polls opened at 7 o'clock. There were about 25 people who were ready when the doors opened, but even that moves smoothly as those, again, a lot of folks waiting until Election Day to cast their ballots.
I felt really safe. I thought it was really cool. Like everything's just set up in like social distancing.
Everything is vastly different this year, voting certainly among those things. Mail-in ballots went to every registered voter in the county, 1.9 million of them, and a record number, more than 1 million, have been returned already, plus an estimated 75,000 people took advantage of early in-person voting. So there may not be as many people today who come to one of the 235 super polling locations. If they do, however, here, for instance, they're met by a team of workers inside the warehouse that's normally used for counting the votes. Now it's designed to move a large number of people through the process of even registering to vote today and voting by provisional ballot while keeping social distancing and safety in mind, from the markers to the plexiglass. But for some, this is an occasion, a ceremony, if you will, voting on Election Day. And it's monumentous, particularly when it's your first time, as it was for a man we talked to who drove down from Camp Pendleton today.
Maybe my one vote probably could have changed the outlook of something else.
So again, you have to be in line here if there is a line by 8 p.m. tonight, or you can drop off your ballot, of course, if you're still holding on to one of those mail-in ballots by 8 o'clock as well. We're live from the Registrar of Voters. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Mary, thank you very much. And both candidates for San Diego mayor casting their ballots this morning, and their race is one of the most contentious local races this season. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell has more on their final push before the polls close.
There are two candidates that want to move into City Hall as the mayor of San Diego. Both Todd Gloria and Barbara Bree voted in person at different locations today. This is after a couple of days of last-minute campaigning. Here's Barbara Bree voting at a city library in La Jolla with her husband. Yesterday, she spent time with supporters waving at drivers near Cowles Mountain, working to get support from voters. Todd Gloria also voting with his family by his side. He cast his ballot this morning at the County Registrar of Voters in Kearney Mesa. Monday, he had Governor Gavin Newsom helping him campaign through a virtual phone bank. On Election Day, both candidates had messages for voters as their road to becoming San Diego's new mayor draws to a close.
That people hear our message of change for our city, our message of a focus not on small issues like vacation rentals and scooters, but a focus on the big issues that are impacting San Diegans: homelessness, housing affordability, transportation.
We built a grassroots volunteer-driven effort with residents all over the city. We knew from the beginning we were fighting against the special interests that have spent more than $1 million running negative attack ads against me.
And in the latest ABC 10 News Union Tribune scientific poll, it shows this race in a dead heat. Reporting from downtown, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Marie. Some San Diego businesses say they are not taking any chances with all the uncertainty surrounding the election. We found some of them boarding up multiple buildings downtown. Business owners say they want to avoid a repeat of the damage and looting that happened over the summer. We're going to have more on this later.
Well, meanwhile, San Diego police opening their operations center today, which is only activated during major events. Agencies across the county say they will also be on high alert in preparation for possible demonstrations.
We fully respect everybody's right to peacefully demonstrate, to express their First Amendment rights. However, when those peaceful demonstrations cross that line into criminal activity, deputy sheriffs and local law enforcement in general will be ready to act to hopefully keep everybody in the crowd safe.
And we're also told some of the agencies will be monitoring social media to see if there are any groups that are planning to protest or celebrate in response to the outcome of the election. There are several ways that you can keep track of the latest results, and we'll have wall-to-wall coverage as they come in on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or your computer or phone. To watch, just download the ABC 10 News app or go to 10news.com.
And a quick reminder, MTS is offering free rides to the polls today until 8:30 p.m. All passengers traveling to voting locations can take MTS and North County Transit buses, trains, and trolleys free of charge. Face coverings are required to ride public transit.